All right, so this is the interest problem on page 244, number 13. The difficulty of this problem is that we have two variables instead of one that we're trying to solve for. And the variables are relatively independent of each other. So what we're going to have to do in this equation is more than one step. It's not just going to be a matter of setting up the equation and solving for a single variable. We're going to have to set up the equations, and then we're going to have to solve the equations in terms of one of the variables, and then substitute those variables back in for the other variable, and then solve down. So there's going to be a lot of moves that you can make through here. So this is kind of a challenging problem that you've got a lot of different directions to go, and it's not really going to be intuitive right off the bat how you're going to solve it. You're just going to have to put things down on the page and then move things around until it makes sense and you can actually get the answer you want. It's not going to be intuitive right away. So you're going to have a lot of problems like these on the exam, and it's a matter of just not giving up. You just got to keep writing things down and keep moving them around until it makes sense. So the first step is let's write down what we actually know. The problem says that Pat makes $256 out of his investments out of a total of $3,000 that he's invested. And we know that the money that he invested went in two directions. There's one account, I'm going to call it account A, and a second account called account B. And we know that all of those $3,000 go into one of those two accounts. So knowing that piece of information, we can set up two equations. We can say the money that goes into account A is going to be equal to 3,000 minus whatever goes into account B. And vice versa. We can say that whatever goes into account B is going to be $3,000 minus whatever goes into account A, because there's a total of $3,000 and it has to go into one of those two accounts. The second equation we can set up is based on the interest rates that they tell us and how much interest the investments make total. We're told that Pat makes $256 based on investments, and we're told the exact interest rates that both of those, both account A and account B, are based on. And anytime you have a constant rate of change, like an interest rate in this case, all you have to do is put in the amount of money that's been invested in that account and just multiply it by that rate of change. So in this case, we have one account, I'm going to say account A, we know is generating 10% interest, and we know that account B is generating 8% interest, and the total of those things put together has to equal $256. That's the first part of solving this problem, is just setting up the equations. Now I actually want you to take kind of a second and think about the next step, and that is, how do we solve this equation in terms of one variable? Because having two variables, you know, we can play around with this a lot and not really get very far. We're going to have to solve this equation in terms of just one variable. So I want you to take a second and think about how you might do that.